Hello guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to talk about automatically scale the number of workers property in AWS Glue ETL job. I hope you already know about this behavior, automatically scaling up and down the number of worker. But if not, then don't worry, we are going to discuss about a little bit about the theory. If you are coming from a Spark background, then you might already know about this dynamic allocation property, right? So if we want Spark to dynamically calculate how much number of executor it needs, then we basically set up this property spark.dynamic_allocation.enable equal to true. Okay. And here what it has written in native Spark, auto scaling is called dynamic resource allocation. Yeah, so we are talking about it, right? So you first of all you need to enable this property, and after that you need to provide the minimum and the maximum number of executor which Spark can utilize throughout the journey of Spark job. Okay, and initial executor means whenever the job will get kicked off, then these many number of executor will get spinned up, and throughout the course of job execution, Spark will have a liberty to increase those number of executors till 10. Okay. Okay. Now this is how we used to utilize this DRA or dynamic resource allocation property in the native Spark. But how we gonna utilize it in Glue? Now we're gonna see it. Okay, so what AWS Glue says, AWS Glue will optimize cost and resource usage by dynamically scaling the number of worker up and down. So there are two words, right? Scaling up and scaling down. When we say scaling up, that means it will increase the number of worker. When we say scale down, that means it will decrease the number of worker. Okay, throughout the job run. So this is the same thing which we have just discussed. Okay, so if we have to if we want this kind of a behavior in our glue job, then obviously we need to select this property, and after that it will also work in conjunction with this particular property, maximum number of workers. So minimum number of workers for a glue job is 2. You cannot keep it as 1, by the way, because one worker is by default reserved for your driver. Okay, so in this case we just need to provide the maximum number of workers because minimum number of worker is implicit, which is 2. Now let's say I want to keep it as maximum number of worker equal to 4. Now for G1X, there is one very important thing which I will want to convey to you. For one G1X worker corresponds to one DPU, and one DPU corresponds to one executor. So throughout the video, if I will say a name like one worker, one DPU, one executor, they all are same. Okay, especially for G1X type of worker. If I will be selecting G2X worker, then all of these parameters will get changed because one G2X worker will have two DPUs. That means one worker of G2X will have two executor. But in case of G1X, it is very simple to remember. One worker of G1X corresponds to one DPU, corresponds to one executor. So that makes the calculation very simple, and this demo is also become simple if I will keep my worker type as G1X. Okay, I will not show you the practical because I have already ran the job. I will just show you the logs, and that will be enough for you to show the behavior of automatically scale the number of worker. Okay, and please remember when you are doing this practical, then you should also enable this Spark UI. By the way, it is automatically enabled in our case when we create a job. But if in your case, for some reason, if it is disabled, then I will suggest you to kindly enable it. Okay. All right. So what I've done in this demo is I have just written a very small script where I'm just doing nothing but I'm doing a cross join. Okay. I hope you know the cross join, right? So cross join is something like if you have, let's say, a file or a table which is having 1,000 records, and if you're gonna do a self join, basically a cross join with the self table, its own table, then it gonna just increase the number by n multiply n. Okay, so why I did this is because I wanted to simulate a behavior where Spark would need or Spark would have a requirement of increasing the number of workers. So if you have a lot of data, then obviously the Spark will need a lot of worker. And just to simulate that, I have used this cross join. So I hope you by now you know why I have used this cross join. Okay, and now I will show you two runs. And for for simulating the behavior of it, what I have done is first I ran this job with a very small file which is having a size of 4.5 KB, and we have already seen this file, right? It is having almost 110 records, and this big file is having a size of 81.4 MB. It has a lot of records, if I have to show you. So let me just go back to my desktop and let me go to the down section. Okay, it has almost 1.9 million record if I'm not wrong. So you can just imagine if we will do a cross join, how many number of records is going to generate. Okay, so first of all, I ran my job with this very small file. Um, so what I did, because I have already hard coded the source file, so I just changed the source file over here and ran my job. It ran within 47 seconds, and even though it is showing capacity DPU is equal to 4 DPU, it doesn't mean that it has utilized all the 4 DPUs. Okay, if you want to see the utilization, then you can go to the Spark UI. So what you can do, you can select the job run which you want to see the utilization of Spark Executor, and then you can go to the Spark UI. Then you can just maximize it, and here in the job section only you can see that it has added one executor driver, and after that it only needed one more executor, because one executor is reserved for driver. For data processing it only added one executor, so we were still left with two executor, but because they were not needed, that's why Spark have not added them. Okay, so here you can see the behavior of this dynamic allocation. Very important thing which I want to show you is, if you go to this environment and if I'll just search dynamic property over here, here you can see that dynamic allocation is enabled. The flag is basically true. And then you can see that initial executor is 1. That means when the job will get kicked off, one executor will get spinned up. But maximum number of executor is 3 and minimum is 1. What do we mean by 1 and 3 over here is, basically we have selected 4 workers, out of which one it has already excluded for driver. So we are left with 3 executor. So at a time we can have maximum one executor, sorry, minimum as one executor and maximum as 3 executor. I hope you know this because we have already excluded the driver from here. And the number of core per executor, we already know that we receive 4. Okay. Let me check if there is any other property which I want to show you. Yeah, and you can also see that for one Spark executor, you're gonna get 10 gigs of memory. So you might get confused that one DPU or one worker is corresponds to 10, 16 GB, then why I am getting 10 GB? So basically there are a lot of memories parameter which come into place when you work in Spark. Even though you have given 16 GB, your executor is not going to receive all the 16 GB, right? Few of them will be for OS, few of them will be reserved for Spark configuration. A lot of different configurations are there. Even this 10 gigs will also not be available for executor for doing the processing. It should be around 5.8 GBs. So there are a lot of parameter which come into the picture. You can see over here that even though theoretically we learned that one DPU have 16 GB or one executor have 16 GB, but in reality it receives almost 5.8 gigs of data memory. Okay, we can see over here in the executor. Here you can see, right? So every executor only have 5.8 gigs of storage memory. Okay, just wanted to show you this. Now let me go back, let me minimize this, and this time we will see our next execution run, which got timed out. So we do not need to worry about the timeout because the file size was too huge. It got timed out because I set my duration as 15 minutes, but that should not be of your concern. Because what I want to show you is the dynamic behavior, right? So in this one where the job got completed within 47 seconds, there was no need of any scaling up the worker, and that's why uh, we have seen in the jobs only one executor was added over here. Now I'm going back to this job run where I have actually utilized the bigger file which was having almost 81.4 MB of size. Okay, so let's go back to the execution of that particular big file. So I'll go back to the Spark UI again and I will maximize it. And here you can see, right? So let me enable the zoom just to show you the actual distinction between the timestamp where they got added Yeah. So here you can see that the Spark driver got added at 10:30:28. If it is if the size is too small for you, let me read it for you. Okay, so driver got added at 10:30:28 a.m. After that, the executor 1 got added at 10:37 a.m. and after that executor 2 is added on 10:51 a.m. and third got added at 10:56 a.m. So here you can see that as and when required, Spark was able to add multiple worker or multiple DPU or multiple executor as and when it needed more number of workers or more number of executors. Okay, so this is how you can also do the demo and you can see this behavior in action for your Spark ETL job. That's it for this video, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, kindly subscribe my channel. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.